You're on a trail. Late afternoon. Other hikers passed you 20 minutes ago. Then you hear it. Something behind you. Not too close. Not loud. Just there, keeping almost exactly your pace. The frightening part is that it may have known you were there long before you knew it existed. It watched you walk past. It didn't charge. It didn't chase. Until your body starts screaming a familiar command. Run. And that might be the exact moment everything changes. Because for many predators, a human walking does not produce the same signal as a target fleeing. So what happens inside their brain when you start to run? Why can an animal watch you for minutes and do nothing, but the moment you flee, it begins to chase? Or did your body just activate an ancient hunting circuit, one that fires before the animal even decides what you are? To understand how that circuit works, start with one of the simplest predators imaginable. A hungry toad sitting inches from a dead fly. It does nothing. Drag a piece of cardboard across its field of vision. The tongue fires. Instantly. Not at the fly. At the cardboard. In 1980, a neurophysiologist at the University of Kassel named Jörg-Peter Ewert mapped the reason. The neurons in a region called the optic tectum are tuned to one thing. Movement across the visual field. Not shape, not color, not smell. A dead fly is invisible. A moving piece of paper is prey. But that's not a decision. That's a circuit. And circuits don't stay in toads. But here's where it jumps sideways in a way that should bother you. Because this circuit doesn't just live in brains with billions of neurons. It lives in brains with 16. In 2014, a team led by Matteo Mischiati published a study in Nature tracking how dragonflies intercept prey in midair. Dragonflies don't chase, they intercept. They calculate where a moving insect will be and meet it there. The kill rate is 95%. 95. And the entire system runs on 16 neurons, wired from brain to wing muscles, running a guided missile system with a near-perfect hit rate. The only thing that arms it is movement. A stationary gnat does not exist to a dragonfly. The same circuit as the toad, just faster, smaller, and almost perfect. You'd think 16 neurons is as stripped down as a hunting brain gets. It's not. Your brainstem runs the same program. In 2021, a team led by Yi Li published a study in Nature Communications mapping what happens inside the brain of a mouse during a hunt. They focused on a region called the lateral periaqueductal gray, a cluster of neurons buried deep in the brainstem. What they found was a sequence. The moment a cricket moved in the mouse's enclosure, one set of neurons fired. Detection. A second set kicked in as the mouse began to chase. A third activated at the strike. Detect, chase, kill. 3 stages, fired in order, every single time. But here's the part that matters. The speed of the cricket's movement correlated linearly with how hard the neurons fired. Linearly. The faster the cricket ran, the stronger the signal became. Speed wasn't just noticed. It was the volume knob. The mouse wasn't deciding to hunt harder. The prey was deciding for it. By running faster. Movement may be the oldest trigger in the predatory brain, and it has been firing since before anything on this planet had a spine. So what happens when you scale it up to something that can actually end you? In 2013, a team led by Alan Wilson tracked wild cheetahs in Botswana using GPS and inertial sensors. They expected to find what everyone assumed: raw speed. What they found was that cheetah hunts begin with rapid acceleration, then a deliberate slowdown to match the prey's turns. The most sophisticated land predator on Earth still needs the prey to move before any of it begins. No movement, no chase. No chase, no hunt. Now stand on the other side of it. Not the predator's side, the prey's. You're a deer at the edge of a clearing. There's a shape in the trees. It hasn't moved. Your heart rate stays flat. Your brain files it under rock and moves on. Then it shifts. One step. That's all it takes. Every alarm in your body fires at once, not because you identified what it is, because it moved. You didn't choose to be afraid. The circuit chose for you. And here's the uncomfortable part. You have that same circuit. Nearly everything with eyes does. And the circuit isn't limited to the wild. Your dog chases the mailman. Not because it hates the mailman, because the mailman runs. A child sprints across a yard, and a dog that has never shown a flicker of aggression locks on and gives chase. Behaviorists call it predatory drift, the moment a domestic animal's ancient prey circuit overrides its socialized behavior. Not because the dog decided the child was prey, because the child did what prey does. It ran. That's not aggression. That's not a bad dog. That's 100 million years of wiring that never got uninstalled. The circuit is old. It crosses every branch of the animal kingdom, and it's sitting on your couch right now, waiting for something to move. So the rule is simple. Don't move, don't die. Right? The skeptic's answer. And it sounds clean until you run it against the data. A study out of UC Davis analyzed 185 documented encounters between mountain lions and humans. Of the people who stood perfectly still, 43% were seriously injured. Of the people who ran, 17%. Standing still was more than twice as dangerous. Because a mountain lion is an ambush predator. It reads stillness not as a threat but as an opportunity. A target that doesn't know it's being watched. A target that hasn't detected the approach. In the mountain lion's version of the software, your stillness means the ambush is still intact. In February 2019, a trail runner named Travis Kauffman was running alone on Horsetooth Mountain in Colorado when a juvenile mountain lion hit him from behind. It bit his face. It locked onto his wrist. A Colorado Parks and Wildlife spokesperson said it plainly. The lion's hunting instincts were triggered by the runner. He was moving fast. He was facing away. In 3 seconds, he went from hiker to prey. Not because the mountain lion decided he was food, because his movement answered a question the animal was already asking. There is no universal rule. Every predator runs a different version of the program. A bear reads your stillness as stand down. A mountain lion reads it as stand by. You are not choosing between running and standing. You are the input. And the output depends entirely on which software is reading you. But here's the thing no other animal on this planet can do. You know the circuit exists. Every deer, every cricket, every gnat that ever lived ran the moment the signal fired. You're the first species in 4 billion years that can feel the signal and choose to stand still anyway. We can trace the wiring, neuron by neuron, species by species. What no scan will ever show is whether something behind those circuits watches them fire, or whether the firing is all there is. No inner witness, just code, running. On June 18, 2017, a 16-year-old named Patrick Cooper was running in the Bird Ridge Trail Race near Anchorage, Alaska. He'd finished the halfway turnaround and was heading downhill. Hundreds of people had been on that trail that day. He sent his mother a text message. "A bear is chasing me." Search teams used the GPS on his phone to find his location. They found him 500 yards from the trail, in heavy brush. A black bear. He was running, in a race, on a trail that other runners had crossed minutes before. None of them were chased. He was. That bear didn't decide Patrick Cooper was food. His legs made that decision for it. In the fraction of a second it takes a hunting circuit to read movement, direction, and speed, his body answered a question his mind never got to hear. Right now, somewhere on whatever trail or road or stretch of ground you'll walk across next, something is running a circuit that is older than trees, older than grass, older than the bones in your feet. And you are the input it's waiting on. Not because of what you are. Not because of how you smell or how much you weigh or whether you're afraid. Because of what you do next. And somewhere out there, the thing that watched you yesterday, that smelled you from a mile out, that could have closed the distance before your next heartbeat, is still watching. Still waiting. Not for you to stop, for you to start. We built fences and leashes and zoos around that circuit, but we never turned it off. The moment you run, you answer its question.